Welcome back, YouTube. Today is legs, obviously. I train legs every day. Kuba is competing in 8 weeks this weekend. His training partner moves away in 4 weeks. So I can imagine that I'm going to be the person that's going to be helping him in his sessions, putting his plates on, etc. Not because I have to, but because I want to. And I know that he did do that a lot of last year for me when it came to the end of my competition prep coming close to the Olympia. So it's important that, you know, it's not about doing the meals for your partner. It's not about all of that type of stuff. It's more about being there for the person and showing that you really care, especially when they're right in the trenches. You know, they're feeling it's their choice. You don't feel bad for them because they're the ones that are wanting to do the nitty gritty. But in the same breath, you should be someone who's wanting to support them. I would never want to be with someone, and I would never want to be that person that would ever take something away from someone that makes them feel passionate about it. So I will support Kuba to the deaths with whatever journey he decides to do, and part of that becomes plate management when he gets closer to comp prep this time. So I've got probably some incognito push and pull days over the next kind of 6 to 8 weeks. So if my upper body gets large, you'll have to say in my YouTube. I can't imagine that it will, and I'm only kidding. It's not going to grow just after 1 or 2 sessions. But if I'm in the gym, I might as well train, because I think I'd go nuts if I was in here and I was just helping Kuba put his plates on. Might as well get in, get a session done, have some fun together, enjoying some training, and then see him do the business at the end, bringing his best physique yet. So we always like to have a little bit of a topic. Well, I do anyway, when it comes to my videos, because it helps them flow. Otherwise, you just simply watch me train, and that might be fun for most people, but I think I've always been someone who likes to put a little bit of education, information into their videos, rather than it just being watching me train, because I mean, it's probably a little bit boring watching a female train compared to a man that's in there screaming their head off with their big veins and their muscles. It's a little bit different for me-ish. Maybe if we went back 6 months ago. Anyway, we're going to do a little bit of a topic today of how to help weak body parts grow. So we're going to do 5 key tips about how to make your weak body parts grow. So stay involved, watch the video, and you'll get to understand how to improve your weak body parts. Tip number 1, if you have a weak body part, the idea for it is to prioritize it in your session. So likely, if it's a priority area, movement, whatever you want to call it, it would be at the start of your session. So for me, the biggest point to that is activating. When I start my sessions, for especially the areas that are a little bit harder to grow, we all know we can't beat around the bush. My bottom is terrible. So the biggest thing for me before any glute day, any leg day, because my bum I don't find that connection with my bum incredibly well. Definitely better since I've trained it a little bit more and it's got more meat to it now. But I have to do some activation before I start. So that comes in the form of some abduction work, some glute kickback work, movements that isolate it, no momentum, just focusing on really moving and grooving that muscle. So activation is key, especially if it's an area that you don't work very well with. If I go back 4 or 5 years ago when I had a shit back, the best thing I did was activation work before my actual back movements. This is before Kuba and me became, I guess, better at training, better with our knowledge when it comes to training and the implementation. We used to start our back days with a lat row on the cables and an upper back pull row on the cables. And doing stuff like that, getting it working, getting yourself thinking about it, etc., set the tone for your session. So that is almost prioritizing. Yes, we talk about exercise order in your actual sessions, but the first initial thing that you do when you come to the gym should be a little bit of a warm-up. Within that is a little bit of activation. Don't take forever, you will tire yourself out for your sessions, so activation is key for me. Some glute kickbacks before I start my session, which you'll have seen in my video, is priority for me for my glute session because it is a hard to grow area. So as we've spoken about, I'm testing the waters with a bit of powerlifting. I definitely feel like I need a bit of a deload because 3 plates feels very heavy, and usually that's like a warm up where I can feel it, but not to a point where I'm like, yeah, I could work with just this weight. So we knew that we're not quite feeling as funky fresh when that's feeling more like a working weight. So I've just gone for some reps. I mean, I'm good at deadlifting, but I'm not going to say that my form's the best because I'm so used to doing a hip hinge for so long, pulling it just like that. It's very hard to go to, it's basically like a leg press, isn't it? A deadlift. Can't let my hips raise and then come up because then it's almost seen as a restart. I think you got to just be like powerful with your hips. So I think that the hip thrust that I've been doing is probably going to help me a little, but it's not a bad thing that I'm needing to just taper it down a little bit today and just make sure that my form's really good because I can move the load. I've got a big upper back and that's where I can literally just grip and rip. But to make sure that I get that green light when I do my competition, I need to make sure that my technique's really good. Squats are nailed, deadlifts are nearly nailed. Bench press is very good. I will say they'll probably feel a little bit stronger and move better when I've got a little bit more food in because my weight's coming down at the minute. It's always a little bit more. I'm not saying that I don't feel strong, but I just don't feel as stable. And if you've dieted properly, you'll understand what I mean. Tip number 2, volume or overtraining. They both come hand in hand. I think there's a common misconception that you need to train something every day if it's a weak body part. And it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not saying that you don't have to train it more often than the areas that obviously don't need as much bring up. So for me, because my glutes need more come up, my priority is I don't really train my upper body. I train my other lower body parts enough to be able to give my glutes a little bit of a rest. But I train glutes the most often in the week. But if I was to train glutes Monday, glutes Tuesday, glutes Wednesday, they don't have enough time to be able to recover. I'm not going to talk about fatigue management or, pushing hard in your sessions, etc. because again, there's a huge misconception with that as well, that people just take it to the extreme and they think that they need to fatigue manage if they feel like they've got a tiny little bit of DOMS in their legs the next time that they go into their leg session. But if you train the day after day after day, you don't recover. So for me, give yourself 1 day of air time. Glutes Monday, glutes Wednesday, glutes Friday, repeat, repeat, repeat. Keep going like that and you'll be fine. If you use that as a general rule of thumb, at least to be able to bring up a weak body part, then you'll be in with good chance of making some good progress. I train it or train glutes I train it every other day really, because even in my leg days that are more quad focused, I still hit my glutes. So it's every other day, I recover enough, my body still hurts a little bit going into that next session, but it's definitely enough air time for me to be able to get some recovery in there for me to go into the next session ready. I take my deloads when they're needed. When my body's tired, my appetite starts going a bit shit, my sleep starts going a little bit shit, etc. But you need to make sure that you are not overtraining, and that means day after day after day doing the same thing. I think it's an old school bodybuilding thing where they used to go into the gym and do their calves and their glutes every single day in a competition prep. If you really want to grow muscle, you need to have at least a day between doing that same body part the next time. Hopefully that makes sense. At Team MK, we are a coaching service. We have coaching services all the way from lifestyle up to professional bodybuilders. We have Magda, our MK coach, who coaches the lifestyle, along with support always from myself or Kuba. We also have bodybuilders from right at their beginning part of their journey all the way up to professional level. If you would like to have competitive coaching with both either myself, Meg, or Kuba, please DM us now to inquire and get started on your coaching journey. Straight into that one. So, if you think that a booty builder is for just a female bikini athletes, well, it should, because they've got probably one of the best bottoms in the world. It's really savage. I used to think, oh, I'm not using it, I'm too good for that. It's absolutely amazing. So if you've not used it, definitely use it. Right, hip thrusts. A real common mistake that I see. We're not going to talk about keeping your shins vertical. We're not going to talk about your knees traveling backwards and forwards. All that sort of shit that I normally do. We're going to talk about the extension. So when you drive your hips through to the ceiling, so many people leave. I don't know if to demonstrate it. Yeah, probably. Lots of people leave their hips like here, and they think that's fully squeezed with their glutes. It's not. You want to think knees, hips, boobs aligned. That's fully squeezed. If you don't do that, you're not getting full range of motion. So make sure, if you're thinking about driving your hips through, think about thrusting your hips all the way through to your ceiling. Kuba says something not very, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, not very PG, so we're not going to say that. But try and think hips all the way through to the ceiling, still keeping your core tight, squeezing as much as you can, and you'll get so much out of it with your glutes. Makes it harder as well. Sure. There's no way I can make that not make a bang. Fucking hell. Tip number 3 to helping you build your weak body parts. Mind to muscle connection. Basically, learn how to train well. If you want to have mind to muscle connection, so you want to utilize the muscle that you're supposed to be utilizing on any muscle, you need to do your form right. The reason you're likely not feeling the muscle, if you are doing the movement right, is probably because you don't have a lot of muscle there. I get it quite often with very slight, not very developed muscular females that do a rear delt fly, and they'll say, I can't feel it. It's like, well, you don't really have a lot of muscle there, so that's not me being harsh, but likely you need to do that movement, that form well over time, build a little bit of muscle there before you feel it. But if you do have some muscle in that area and you do the form right, you are guaranteed to be using actual muscle that you're supposed to be. So if you can do the movement well, you can do it over time, you can learn to do it better and better, you will get a better mind to muscle connection. So if you can focus on doing that and just getting better at your training, you'll find that you just get better at doing it. It's like when I had a terrible back, I didn't know the difference between training my lats to my upper back. So all of my movements for lat rows, upper back rows, lat pull downs, upper back pull downs, they all looked the same. They all felt the same. I didn't really feel anything. Whereas then when you looked into the nitty gritty of, okay, maybe I need to put my arm in this position or my hand in this position, or I need to put my elbow in this line to be able to feel that certain area that I'm wanting to feel, that helped me progress that mind to muscle connection and get better at it. Same with my glutes. Because I used to do a lot of my movements, not really think about them, use a lot of momentum, definitely not do them with good form. Like we'll look at a hip thrust. If we look back at my hip thrust from say 5 years ago, I'd been moving in the 4 plates, but my knees were rocking backwards and forwards. I weren't getting full range of motion. I was using a lot of momentum with my head. I definitely wasn't using or thinking about using my glutes. Whereas now I think about it, I focus on, I even visualize what it feels like before my set, and that helps me with my mind to muscle connection in my exercises. So yeah, you might not want to think too much when you're training because, you know, it's a place that you come and you forget the world. But if you want to develop muscle, a little bit of thinking has to come into it to make sure that you're doing everything with the right intent, with the right focus to get the right things out of the movements that you're supposed to be doing. like doing the beam in gymnastics, that. It's like balancing board, beam style, like gymnastics. Oh, bloody no. Tip number 4, to bringing up weak body parts, especially if we're going to talk about glutes. Don't rely on banded bodyweight movements. You come into the gym or even just isolations for even that reason. They're just too easy to actually build up a weak body part. You'll probably find that other areas around it will grow still probably a little bit more rapidly than that. But you need to, than that area, but you still need to use like hard movements. Like if you talk about glutes, hip thrusts, RDLs, leg presses for glute focus, but with those movements, are you going to use a bit of quad, a bit of adductor, a bit of erector, etc.? Yes, so are those areas going to grow? Absolutely. But if you really want to build serious mass, you can't do that with like a banded frog walking, whatever they're called, or a glute kickback, etc. Real mass comes from real movements. So don't get caught up on the Instagram and what are they called, fitfluencers, social medias, that they're doing all these movements. I actually saw a video, and quite a few of my clients have sent it, and this is nothing negative towards her, because if she's selling the plans and doing really well with it, fabulous. Laura Lee Chap, she was doing an RDL where she was like looking at the ceiling and doing an RDL. I was like, any girl that really struggles to grow their glutes, like you can't do a movement like that. You just need to do it basic. Focus on the real basic lift. Focus on doing it hard. Focus on doing it heavy, and you will be able to build mass. So forget about your resistance bands. Tie in a little bit of isolation work, but really focus on hard and heavy compounds for that specific muscle group. E.g., hip thrusts, RDLs, split squats, leg presses, glute focused. If you want to build up your glutes, they work the best. The glute focus leg press, I'm definitely going to use a little bit of quad, can't get away from it, but because I have my feet so high on the pad, I can still get full range of motion without my knees travelling over my toes when I'm at the bottom. So it stays like this rather than like this. That means I'll use more glute than I will my quads. So if you're doing a glute focus, an adductor stance, a quad focus leg press, know your bias, stick with your foot positioning, get to work, build the weights, build the reps, get massive. Right, I'll leave you with my finishing tip. Tip number 5. Can we do 6?
Bonus tip.
We're going to do 5 and then we're going to do a bonus. But only if you get to the end of the video do you get the bonus tip. So, tip number 5. Nutrition. If you want to build muscle, you can't be the type of person that's under restricting your calories a lot. You find, especially with a lot of females, they'll look a little bit skinny fat. They don't really understand why they can't get lean or why they can't build muscle. And you find it's often because you over-consume in a weekend, you under-restrict on a weekend, and it's just that vicious circle. Your body's always going through them ups and downs with the hormone fluctuations because of that, and you can't build the muscle in that non-consistent environment. And I'm not saying that you can't have some downtime, you can't enjoy your favourite takeaway every now and again. You can, but if you want to build muscle, or even if you want to have a great physique, you do have to give your body good nutrition. That brings me on to a point that, you know, if you are someone that is out of shape, or you're someone that goes or works in an office and you're around other bodybuilders and they're eating a lot of calories and you're thinking, goodness, why can they eat so much and look the way that they do? People often say, you know, it's the drugs. I've got so many natural clients that look fantastic, and it's because the food, as much it might be more or a lot, it's good whole foods compared to processed foods. It's like, if I was to eat the amount of foods that I do right now, that are processed style foods, crisps, biscuits, trying to think what else we have. Cookies, donuts, yeah, all those types of foods. Like if you're to overconsume them, even like you go to Greg's and you get a sausage roll or one of their little meal deals at lunchtime, and you think, oh, you know, it's not a lot, it's processed foods. Like having that quantity of foods similar to what I would have for my meal, you're just going to get fat, or you're just going to look awful. And if you've got a body type that doesn't look very good, or you're struggling to drop body weight, right, look at your nutrition. But if you want to build mass also, nutrition is key. So make sure that you're keeping a good calorie balance, eating good whole foods. If you have a little takeaway, 1 weekend out of 4 in a month compared to every weekend, you're going to make some big changes to both the way in which you look and the way in which you can build muscle. Bonus tip number 6. Consistency. If you want to build muscle and you want to give yourself every possible chance of having the best physique that you want to have, consistency is the key. Yes, like I've just said, a little bit of balance if you're in your off season as a bodybuilding competitor, or if you're not a competitor and you're looking to just change your physique. Consistency is what's going to win. Keeping good calories, making sure you're eating small frequent meals throughout the day, making sure that you're not over consuming and then under consuming, making sure that, you know, you stick to your diet, you stick to your expenditure, you stick to things in a really great way. It's not a sad or boring life to live unless you don't want to look good. And some people can get away with anything and look great, but 99% of us have to try. So if you want to look great, you want to build muscle, etc., you need to stay consistent, because consistency in anything that you do in life, bodybuilding and competition, career-wise, business-wise, etc., that is how you're going to win, and that's how you're going to succeed. I love personally to see people win. I love to see people happy. I love to see people succeed. One of the biggest things that you see when someone comes to you as a client and they change the way that they live their life, especially with eating well, training well, etc., the change that you see with them in their confidence, in their stress management, in their productivity, in their relationships that they have, just how they are as a person, is just amazing to see. So consistency is what will win. If you got to this point in the video, please hashtag end of video. That's where we're going to go to. If you do want coaching and you want to join my team, I do coach both competitors for bodybuilding and lifestyle competitors. Please DM me on Instagram or pop me an email on meg@teammkcoaching.com. It is below in the comment section or the description section. If you've got anything that you want me to cover, please comment below. We'll be starting up a podcast very soon. So any topics that you would like me to personally cover from a female bodybuilding perspective, personal perspective, nutrition, diet, training, etc., comment below and I'll be happy to share everything that I've done for the past 12 years within the fitness industry. So like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll be back again soon.